Hello, you sentient ball of stardust. My name is Casey Davis. I'm a therapist and I'm an author of the book How to Keep House While Drowning, where I talk about ways to make it a little bit easier to take care of yourself when you're overwhelmed, stressed, have mental health issues, physical health issues, or maybe you're just in a hard season of life. Maybe you're looking for a place that you can come and listen to some practical advice. This is a podcast for all of the self-help rejects. We're going to talk about skills for survival and self-kindness. And I'm going to leave the pop psychology at the door. I promise not to tell you to meditate or to journal. We're just going to give you some really insightful conversations with hopefully some practical advice. So I don't believe you need to pick yourself up by the bootstraps. I don't want you to just try harder, and I don't believe that laziness exists. So join me over on Struggle Care, where we can find compassionate solutions that help us function a little bit better.
New on Curiosity Stream. How do you connect a 16th century potato to limitless energy production? Could Napoleon's toothpick have a direct link to a machine that predicts the future? And how can a 1700s conch shell chart a course to humans connecting their brains to the internet? James Burke's visionary series Connections returns for a new generation. Experience all new Connections. With monthly, annual, and bundled plans, find the one that works for you at curiositystream.com.
Stoveleg Media, igniting conversation.
Hello, friends. So, just gonna go ahead and jump in to the goodness this week. We are doing a little bit of a more fun episode, I guess, in a way, at least. And I've decided I want to do once a month, one of the episodes be something kind of goofy. So, I mentioned in our last episode that my roommates and I spend a lot of time laying out in our driveway, hanging out with the dogs, drinking seltzers. And one evening we were out there and we were talking about episode topics, you know, what I should cover, all that stuff, things we find interesting. And I look over into the yard and I looked at Allison and I was like, why the heck are pink flamingos a thing? Where did they come from? Where did they go? Where did they come from? Cotton Eye Joe. You know, what's the big deal? So, I decided that this week it would be fun to dive into the history of pink flamingos a little bit. And, you know, since I've been thinking about it, and like, it's actually more interesting than you'd expect. And some of the stuff that has been, I guess, put out about pink flamingos is actually really shocking. So, surprisingly, pink flamingos were originally created in Massachusetts. Not Florida or Georgia or even California, Massachusetts. A young sculptor, Don Featherstone, was hired by a plastics company, and one of his assignments was to sculpt a pink flamingo. There were no live models nearby, no surprise, so he used some photos that he found in National Geographic magazines to sculpt the flamingos and build the molds. So at the beginning of it all, the flamingo trend was just that, a trend. A yard art, you know, Susie has one, so I want one too. In the post-World War II situation, cookie cutter subdivisions had become such the norm. And people really wanted to mark their houses to give them some kind of individuality, you know? And I totally get that. We live in townhomes, and my boyfriend couldn't find my house for like months except that it had Christmas lights still up in February last year. So there's that. We've still got them up now, but that's on purpose this time. That's not us just being lazy. Anyway, so cookie cutter subdivisions just make me want to die. No offense. So I get why people wanted, to make their homes look a little more unique. So the pink flamingos were new. They were cool, cutting edge kind of. And they were also, by some people, considered elegant. They were the symbol of tropical elegance. They were, kind of exotic. All of those good things. They were pretty. And people wanted something like that in their lives. And they wanted to mark their homes as their home. So, by then, around that time, the Woodstock era happens. And flamingos end up falling out of trend for a while. In particular, this is when they became a symbol of tackiness. But then, thanks to the pop artists of the 1960s and later, like Warhol and Oldenburg, the flamingo began gaining in popularity again. These artists sought to embrace mass market popular culture and then elevate it so that their art featuring it was desirable to a more pretentious, honestly, audience. And in that way, it also elevated the status of the pink flamingo in the same fell swoop. So, in addition, right around this time, Waters' movie Pink Flamingos came out. So, weirdly, when I said I wanted to do an episode on pink flamingos, Adam's first response was, the movie? Which I was surprised by because I had literally never heard of the movie until I started researching. So I was like, does everybody know about this but me? But anyway, this movie was called by Waters himself Outrageous. And he said that up until the point of this movie, the only people who had pink flamingos had them because they were, at that point, a genuine working class landscaping attempt. Just, we want to make our yard pretty. Let's go buy something. Oh my gosh, that pink flamingo is beautiful. They had them because they liked them and they wanted to make their space beautiful and individual. So this movie in particular, but also in conjunction with the era's pop artists, with all of that, pink flamingos become something different than what they had always been. Weirdly, they end up becoming a reflection of class structure. And there's this part of me that thinks that is so weird because they are a lawn ornament. But then I have to take a step back and be aware of the fact that I have pink flamingos in my front yard. One, because I think they're fun and I think they're funny and they make me laugh. But two, because I think it's kind of ironic to have pink flamingos in your front yard. So at this point, they are often seen as a highbrow version of tackiness. You're tacky, but when you know it, and you're doing it on purpose, ironically, which I have to admit, that was a little bit of where I was coming from. But also, if it's in front of the right kind of house or in the right kind of neighborhood, it's more likely to be perceived as funny, as a joking kind of tackiness, right? It's just for fun. Obviously, you've got a great sense of humor. You've got pink flamingos. You're fun. You probably have great parties, all that good stuff. But at the same time, the lawn flamingo in front of the rundown trailer on the bad side of town is less likely, I would say, to be perceived as funny. In that instance, it's more likely to be seen as cheap and as a genuine attempt at, mimicking a lifestyle that those people may not have. So Waters, the director of the movie Pink Flamingos, he said in an interview with Smithsonian Magazine, where I got a lot of the info for this piece, that pink flamingos have become too loaded for him nowadays. They are a classist symbol of the well-off, poking fun at the genuine tastes and even hopes of the less fortunate. And that really made me sad because, it just is. But it also made me think, I have lawn flamingos. I have them. I think they're ironic, but they're ironic because they are kind of tacky, and I'm aware of that, but it's the goofiness of it, not the fact that hardworking people and people who may be less privileged than me might associate them with affluence. Waters said, "You can't have anything that innocent anymore." But why can't you? Why not? To me, it's really similar to the concept of taking back a word or a profession, and instead of letting it demean you, you find empowerment in it. Why can't I have a lawn flamingo simply for the fact that it makes my little heart giggle? I don't have them because I'm making fun of a lower class, and they're not meant to be an intellectual commentary either. I just think they're fun. Probably, I would say, like a lot of those 1950s and 60s housewives did. Now that you know the history of pink flamingos, not that you asked, but I was curious, so I thought I'd share. And you know all about the surprising, but also not surprising, classist connotations that come with pink flamingos. What do you think? Do you see them as mocking the lower class? Or maybe they just make you happy, like they do me. Or maybe you just think they're tacky, like my mom does. Let me know what you think. This episode was a little bit shorter. Some of these will be. But thanks guys for listening. Follow us at I've Been Thinking on Instagram. Comment, let me know what you thought about this episode. Let me know what you think about pink flamingos and whether they're classist structures making fun of the lower class, or whether you just think they're funny, or whether you think they're tacky. I'll talk at you guys next week. Again, thanks for listening. Bye.
Hello, you sentient ball of stardust. My name is Casey Davis. I'm a therapist, and I'm an author of the book How to Keep House While Drowning, where I talk about ways to make it a little bit easier to take care of yourself when you're overwhelmed, stressed, have mental health issues, physical health issues, or maybe you're just in a hard season of life. Maybe you're looking for a place that you can come and listen to some practical advice. This is a podcast for all of the self-help rejects. We're going to talk about skills for survival and self-kindness. And I'm going to leave the pop psychology at the door. I promise not to tell you to meditate or to journal. We're just going to give you some really insightful conversations with hopefully some practical advice. So I don't believe you need to pick yourself up by the bootstraps. I don't want you to just try harder, and I don't believe that laziness exists. So join me over on Struggle Care, where we can find compassionate solutions that help us function a little bit better.
Okay, round two. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right. ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.